This is not a commercial for The Way I Heard It with Mike Rowe, the award-winning podcast now entering its 10th year and available wherever podcasts are listened to. No, this is a commercial for Mike Rowe's foundation, which has just set aside $10 million to help train the next generation of skilled workers. That money is available right now at microworks.org. It's waiting for anyone who wants to learn a skill that doesn't require a 4-year degree. Electricians, plumbers, linemen, welders, shipbuilders, HVAC techs. America is desperate for men and women with skills they don't teach in universities. And the MicroWorks Foundation is committed to helping train America's workforce for hundreds of thousands of AI-proof six-figure jobs just waiting to be filled. Apply today for a work ethic scholarship at microworks.org or support our efforts with a donation of any size. We're closing America's skills gap one job at a time, and we could use your help at microworks.org, MIKEROWE works.org.
Welcome to the Wired for Success podcast, your show for ambitious, mission-driven entrepreneurs who want to build million-dollar businesses without sacrificing their health, relationships, or happiness, who understand that in order to build their empire, they need a solid foundation, and that the more they are thriving, the more their business is thriving too. This show brings you the very best from science, self-development, and entrepreneurship to set you up for sustainable success. Hi, I'm Claudia Garbutt, the scientist turned mindset and high-performance coach for entrepreneurs, and I help you get wired for success. Hey everyone, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Wired for Success podcast, where we talk about all things science, self-development, and entrepreneurship that help you get to that next level of success in your life and business. My wonderful guest today is executive and leadership coach Julie Noonan, who helps women in business lead with the wisdom of the matriarchs. Persevere, nurture, and thrive. She tells you the truth even when it stinks. Julie has more than 30 years of executive level experience in coaching and consulting and is passionate about changing the conversation around ageism as discrimination. So welcome, Julie, and thank you so much for being on my show today.
Thank you, Claudia, for having me.
It's going to be so much fun. Julie, well, the first question might not be so much fun. So because you're going back to a dark place in your life. Julie, I understand that you have been laid off twice in your 50s. Can you tell us more about what happened, why it happened, and what consequences this had for you and your life?
Absolutely, Claudia. And it was a dark period in my life. Looking back on it, I think I anticipated the first layoff because I worked for the state of Tennessee here in the United States. I served in a position that I served at the pleasure of the governor. And when the governor changed out, I knew that there was the possibility that I would be replaced. And that happened. I had enough time to prepare for that one, but I wasn't necessarily prepared for the fact at the age of 55 that the recruiters would stop calling, that I would have as hard of a time finding my next position as I actually did. I didn't really realize that at 55 that companies would start looking at me like, oh, she only has 10 more years. I don't think I want to make that investment.
Oh, wow.
The other thing I wasn't really prepared for was the excuse of, oh, you're overqualified. Oh, you're going to be too expensive. And those literally were excuses that would actually bar me from getting an interview to begin with. So that was a pretty dark time. It set me into a bit of a depression there for a while. And that was when I actually started my company to begin with. So I took a couple of independent projects, but I still didn't want to have my own company. I didn't want to be independent. And as soon as I was able, I went back into working for a consulting group. Right. And then COVID hit. And then I got laid off again when I was 57, 3 months into COVID. And literally, that was when panic hit tremendously, because I had already been through, what it was like to look for a job at an age of 50s, in my 50s, and hit that ageism bias. And so what I decided to do at that point was say an expletive and went right back into opening up my business again. And fate just looked down upon me and said, okay, let's give her a break and give her a couple of projects. Fell into my lap. I reached out to my beautiful network, and people just poured in and supported me. I found great support networks just right off the bat, and I had work right away. So opened up my business again and began working. And from that experience, I decided that my coaching career would be to help women and help people of an age get back into the game, either when they've been laid off or when they're looking for their next big adventure.
Oh, that's such an inspiring story. Thank you so much for sharing. And I mean, if we can go back just a little bit and dig a little deeper, I mean, this must have been so tough. How did it make you feel when this happened 2 times in a row? Like, at that point, paint a picture for us. Like, what were the thoughts that were going through your head?
Well, I think when any time you get laid off, your immediate thought is, okay, why me? I felt like being laid off, you immediately feel like I must be the bottom of the barrel, or they would have kept me. I went through these feelings of shame, obviously. Am I not good enough? What am I doing wrong? All of the self kind of loathing, all of the feedback that you've gotten over years and years, things about yourself that you feel like, I can never change that. I've tried and tried, and that's just who I am. All of those things pile up on you when you're kind of your most vulnerable.
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, this is not just you. I mean, this is like the internal dialogue that everyone has in this kind of situation. So I'm curious, what tools or techniques or just mindset shifts did you find really helpful in that situation?
Well, luckily for me, I had been through enough personal therapy over the years, as well as enough personal coaching, frankly, to have realized that I don't let my personal worth get wrapped up in what other people are telling me.
Right.
I've lived long enough to know what my personal faults are, and when I have fallen into those traps, when I have allowed myself to exercise those biases, and when someone is motivated by their own biases and are giving me feedback that reflects their own biases. Right. So I know when I can stand in my own power and use my own assets in order to not fall into my own biases and into my own head. My mindset has always been, regardless of what is all around you, you know who you are, you know what you're capable of, and yes, you are enough. You are enough for any situation that you find yourself in. You just need to look at your assets and lean on what you can do. And there is a way for you to move forward. The other thing that really just happened during COVID, and I think it's not just for me, but it's for a lot of people, is that with the remote situation, I found myself reaching out and finding groups of, and for me, this is just for me, but groups of women entrepreneurs in particular, who were supporting each other. Women that had never met each other. One in particular for me is called Sparkle and Rise. I met this group of women, and I'm still part of this group of women. I've never met a single one of them. And I needed that connection to that group of women to encourage me along the way and to say to me, hey, wait a minute, I think I hear that bias coming up. I think I hear you, allowing other people to tell you your worth. And we're here to tell you that's not true. So surrounding yourself with other people to kind of reflect back, obviously getting a coach if you need, that help along the way is definitely something that you should do. Reach out.
Yeah, I think connection and community are so
important. Goodness, yes.
They are. I mean, you just need those people to, as you said, reflect back to you what you can't see yourself. You need someone else who can mirror you so that you can see your own blind spots. And there's so much about your story that really resonates with me because I don't know if you know this, but I'm a molecular biologist by profession. So when I decided that I wasn't happy working in the lab 24/7 after I became a mom, I kind of had this identity crisis where I really didn't know what else I could do with my life because my identity was so closely tied to being a biologist. I mean, I don't have to tell you that change was hard, right? Especially when it requires change on an identity level. Did you experience a similar crisis in that situation?
Yes. Oh my goodness. I think that is one of the biggest things that I work with a lot of my clients about. If you think about it, a lot of my generation and I'm the last year of the boomers. But I really identify with the first several years of the Xers, mainly because, we kind of grew up with that whole retirement ideology of we work all of our years and then there's this nirvana of retirement. Well, that's not true.
No, don't say that.
There's no nirvana of retirement. Let me just say that out loud. Number one, because it is fraught with financial worry. And number two, a lot of us had children later in life. And so, we're still having to support them as well as aging parents while we're trying to figure out our own retirement. Number three, we're living longer and we're not done. We're not done with the work world. We're not done. We don't feel like we're ready to retire. We are still vibrant. We're still in our sound minds. We still want to contribute to the business world. And a lot of us, unfortunately, are tied up. Our identity is tied up with what we do at work.
Yes.
So it's very difficult. I mean, I grew up as a instructional designer first, and then went into change management consulting, and then executive coaching. It's very difficult to switch an identity. When people ask you anymore, when you meet someone at a cocktail party, what do you say?
It's weird, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it is weird. Who do you say you are? And I would prefer, frankly, if all of us could just say, I'm a very passionate person who loves to help people live a better life.
Yes. I like that.
Yeah.
And what helped you find the confidence and determination to, at this point, venture out on your own and completely reinvent yourself?
Oh, wow. I think I came to the point of realizing that life is short, that there's just so much that I want to do and want to experience in my life, that if I want to do it, I just need to do it. What am I waiting for? When you get laid off twice in your 50s and the rug gets pulled out from under you and you live through that uncertainty and you make it. Early in my life, something really cool happened to me. I had $12 in my checking account. I couldn't even buy toothpaste.
Oh, right.
And people say, people who never go through extreme stress, and that, believe me, that's nothing like what a lot of people go through. Really, that's nothing like a lot of people go through. But for me, that taught me that I could get through really hard times. And because of that, I don't necessarily freak out over financial issues. I always know that I will find a way. I will find a way. So that kind of bedrock knowledge of myself, I know I can persevere. I know that whatever the case may be, I will find a way. I know I have people in my life that can help me. There's that bedrock knowledge underneath all of it, that why not take a chance? Why not step out there and go do what I really want to do? As a matter of fact, in 2 weeks, my husband and I are moving into our fifth wheel RV. Ooh. This house is gone. And we are going to become digital nomads. I'm going to have my business on the road. We're going to be traveling around, exploring, seeing people that we wouldn't have been able to see, seeing the rest of this country, Canada, Mexico, South America. It's going to be wonderful.
It is going to be wonderful. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and I love what you said about this deep confidence. And I think it's something that can't be taught. It has to be experienced. And sometimes it's often those tough times in your life that teach you the most important lessons. I had a kind of like, I don't want to say it's a similar experience, but when I was 28, I was diagnosed with leukemia. So when you have this point in your life where you're not sure if you're going to make it and you have to face your deepest fears, then on the other side of that is this huge freedom of, okay, I've already experienced my worst fear. Now I'm free to do whatever I want to do. And it sounds like this was kind of similar to what you're describing.
Absolutely. One of the things that I ask some of my I do some coaching with some high performers at one of the companies that I work with. And one of the ladies that I coach has some challenges with confidence. Mm-hmm. And I asked her, and this was just yesterday, as a matter of fact, I asked her, I said, what would happen if just everything went wrong with this conversation that you're going to have? I mean, literally, tell me what would happen. Well, I could get fired. And I said, and? And I had her play out the absolute worst. And by the end of it, she realized, A, she would still be alive. B, she would still have a place to live. C, she would probably be less stressed.
Mm-hmm.
D, she would probably have a job the very next day that was more fulfilling. And she, by the end of our coaching, she had so much more confidence to go into the conversation, just because in a safe space, she had faced all of her fears.
Yes.
Right. And so it's all about confidence.
Yes. And I think once you talk about your fears, they're usually not as bad as they seem when they're just stuck in your head, and you have this monkey mind, and they just keep spinning in your head, and everything feels so bad. Once you talk about them, it's kind of like the feeling is already resolving, and you're moving the emotions through your body. They get out of your head and you start to feel better. Now, do you have any tips for people who are listening right now and who might be in that difficult situation where they have to reinvent themselves, but they still feel lost and don't know what to do or where to start from here?
I think the number one thing that I could say is to give yourself grace.
Yes. Definitely.
Mainly because there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing, what you're feeling is completely 100% normal.
Mm-hmm.
It should feel scary to reinvent yourself. Every change comes with a realignment of emotion, with a realignment of who you are. And that is difficult. On the flip side, it's also exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Once you've allowed yourself to feel whatever it is you're feeling, find someone who can see the excitement side and help you focus on that side and take you on that ride.
Yes, that's a great tip. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah.
And what do you think, when you look back at the work that you have done, what are some of the most surprising lessons that you have learned about human behavior through working with your clients?
Oh, boy.
Is there anything that comes to mind? That
Oh,
really
my goodness. Oh, my goodness. A lot. I think some of the most outwardly buttoned up, some of the most outwardly unapproachable people, some of the most seemingly put together people have been some of the most needing of my coaching.
Right.
Yes. Because they're hiding. They're hiding a lot. They're hiding a lot of insecurity. And I'm not saying all of them, certainly. That's a generalization, and I certainly don't want to do that. But many times people will put those very put together people up on a pedestal, and that increases the pressure on those individuals, and that is counterproductive to their continuing growth. And so what I have found is when they do actually wind up seeking coaching, it is almost cathartic for them to be able to, when they finally do drop that armor, when they choose to finally drop the armor, it's almost trying to put the ocean back in a bottle.
Yeah.
And it's a long process. Sometimes it's a referral to therapy, to be honest with you, but those are the individuals that certainly have needed me the most. Actually, they're the ones that have had to identify with their profession or what they have done the best, because they have been put on a pedestal and kind of almost hammered to that cross, so changing away from that was almost impossible for them to do, because they weren't the ones that hammered them to that cross.
Yeah, that's a heavy weight.
It's almost forced. And that happens a lot in family businesses.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Based on your experience, what would you say makes a really good leader? And how much of leadership is maybe personality, and how much of it is learnable skills like communication style, for instance?
Oh boy. Leadership. I think what makes a good leader, I'll answer that one first. What makes a good leader is, to me, number one is the desire. It's a desire to lead. If you don't have that, then it doesn't matter if you are skilled and or naturally talented to lead. You have to want to. I've seen too many leaders be forced into the position and not have that desire. And really, they had the skill, they had the natural talent, but they didn't want to, and they really screw it up, to be honest. So I think the desire is number one. And sure, everyone says, oh, you have to have the empathy, you have to have people skills, you have to have blah, blah, blah. Yeah, no. If you don't have the desire, it doesn't matter all the other stuff.
That's a good point.
I would say that okay, I struggle with the question of whether it is innate. I think that there is an innate leader gene. And there are definite skills and competencies that go along with that make a better leader. But I think that there is something to a natural leader.
Yeah, it feels like it's like
Yeah.
in most cases a combination of the two, like something innate, like something related to just personality, and something that you can learn. But I think the point that you made about just wanting to be a leader is so important. It's something that I haven't really heard anyone else mention so far, but it makes total sense. And I mean, a lot of people, as you said, are maybe in this position even though they don't want to be in that position, which makes it extra hard on them and probably on their teams as well. Because if you work with a leader who doesn't want to be a leader, there's a lot of tension that goes around. Now,
Yeah.
if if we stay with the communication bit for just now, finding the right words to communicate that someone needs to change, say in order to stay relevant or to move forward, that's not an easy thing to do, and it's often met with a lot of resistance or even denial. So how do you communicate that need for change to your clients so that they are open to hearing what you have to say?
Okay, this comes from a time when I was an early professional. I learned this lesson early on, and it really worked with me. So I've used it with my clients ever since. Early on, when I was a young professional, I was in an early leader development program, and I was very, very, very resistant to wanting. They did all these battery of tests. Oh, you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to blah, blah, blah. And how I was receiving the feedback was I needed to be different.
Mm-hmm.
And I resisted that greatly because I perceived that they were trying to change me, the essence of me, and I did not like that.
Mm-hmm.
Along the way, someone finally gave me the feedback that said, we're not asking you to be different, we're asking you to behave differently.
Yeah, that's a big shift.
Okay, now that sounds like duh, right? Okay, that stuck with me. So now when I give people their feedback, that is the way I go about it. Because really and truly, when people are resisting, that's what they're resisting.
Yeah.
They don't want you to change the essence of who they are. Because guess what? What do we tell people? You are enough. You are perfect exactly how you are made. And that is true. Well, then you come along right behind that and you say, you need to be different. Well, hello. That doesn't make sense, correct?
Right.
That's
Yeah.
hypocritical. And for people like me, hypocrisy is the last thing I want to hear out of someone's mouth.
Yeah.
So saying to them, in essence, is this behavior getting you what you want? Yes or no? If it's not, let's change that behavior. What if you did this? What if you did that? That's much easier to accomplish. Hello, that makes a whole lot of sense.
It does. And funnily enough, that's what I'm trying to do with my kids. It's when they say something like, oh, I'm so stupid. And I say, no. It's not that you are stupid. You maybe did something that was stupid, or you behaved in a way that maybe was not, the best thing to do in this situation. But to have this shift and to say it's not about who you are as a person, it's about the way you behave in a certain context or situation. So I love that you brought that up. Now, you talk a lot about helping people build their legacy. What's the legacy that you personally would love to leave behind?
I would love to leave behind a generation of women in business who are confident, who are leaving their own legacies of strong women in business. Strong, confident women who are just powerful in themselves. They don't have to protest. They don't have to, carry flags. They don't have to prove it. They just are. Their work speaks for itself. They are respected by they're respected by their colleagues, men and women and them. It doesn't matter. We don't have these divides. That's what I am hoping we can all leave. That we don't have to worry about that stuff anymore.
That sounds amazing. I love it. Is there anything else that you would like to share with our listeners today?
Just don't let your own biases, your own thoughts hold you back.
Yeah.
Talk to someone else. Run your ideas by someone else. You would be amazed at the cheering squad you have around you. All you need to do is share your ideas, share your soul, share yourself with someone else. They'll cheer you on.
They will. You will find your tribe, right?
You'll find a ton of tribes.
Perfect. So where can our listeners find you online if they would like to learn more about you or connect with you?
LinkedIn, Julie Noonan, Noonan. Good Irish name. Also my website, jnoonanconsulting.com. Either one.
Awesome. Julie, thank you again so much for sharing your wisdom with us today. I've really enjoyed our conversation.
Oh, same here.
So take care and talk to you soon. Bye.
Thank you, Claudia. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for listening to the Wired for Success podcast. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please subscribe, rate, and leave a review. That's a fantastic, easy, and zero-cost way to help the show grow. Just use the link in the show notes and make my day. Want more? For quick, actionable tips and insights to guided meditations and a side of biohacking, join my inner circle and get access to exclusive subscriber-only content. Again, just use the link in the show notes to join the tribe. Thank you for your support and see you on the other side. Take care and talk soon. Bye.